Guys, and welcome back to part 3 of What If Naruto Became the Vessel of a God. First of all, welcome back to Unmaking 3. And also guys, I already posted a brand new episode of What If Naruto Was the Reincarnation of Gilgamesh. So go ahead and enjoy that, guys. And remember, if you're new, yes, I indeed have 4 channels. All the link for the other channels will be down within the description, so go ahead and obliterate that red subscribe button and become a part of the Anime King family. And thank you for all of your help and your support. And don't forget to comment so I can welcome you personally. So without further ado or wasting any more time, how about we jump right into this brand new episode? Begin the intro, guys. So the last part that we left off, there was a lot of investigation done. Hiruzen was worried. Given Naruto's new behavior and the fact that he knew everything, Hiruzen was gravely worried about. The boy knew strength, as Naruto has gotten so much stronger than before. It was simply ridiculous. They could not go into Naruto's mind because, well, the Nine-Tails, and that would be a huge problem for them all. So they had to take his word for it, as he brought a Hyuga in when he questioned Naruto. However, the Hyuga could not see a shred of line from Naruto. Naruto had discovered a lot about himself. He could cloak himself, literally projecting his essence through what seemed to be another dimension or something, because no one could sense him once he did that. Also, there was a lot more abilities that he was learning along the way. The purple energy that coursed through his veins, it was growing in strength, and Naruto was learning and trying his best to master that power. So with that, the questioning came to an end, but Hiruzen had more envoys watching Naruto and keeping a very close eye on him, as Naruto had gotten a lot more smarter in his actions and Kurama was helping him as well. Therefore, he knew exactly what to say in order to become a member of Team 7. While they were doing their training and their whole thing, the real Naruto was out. He was able to project Kurama consciousness into a clone. Therefore, they were able to battle. Their fight was destroying the place, as they were in an empty wasteland. Naruto's strength had grown to ridiculous heights. Kurama was not holding back. His intention was to try and kill the kid, so to see if he could keep up. The attacks were brutal and fast, and bloodlusted, as the both of them clashed with a ferocity like never seen before, as they tore the place apart. Another thing that Naruto learned about himself, he could teleport. He could project his consciousness and himself straight forward to a distance and replicate his body there as well. It was basically removing his body from one place and placing it somewhere else. However, Team 7 finally got a mission outside the village, towards a village known as the Land of Wave. Upon heading there, they ran into the Demon Brothers. Their battle proved to be quick, as Naruto was moving so fast that time itself seemed to slow. However, Naruto was able to peer beyond the Demon Brother eyes and gaze into his very soul. A shocking, startling realization, as Kurama didn't know how it was possible, but he could also feel it as well. Upon defeating them, they headed off, making their way straight towards the Land of Wave when they ran into Zabuza. Through the combined efforts of Naruto and Sasuke actually speaking up so they could work together, they were able to free Kakashi, who demolished Zabuza with ease. Upon doing so, he was rescued and saved by his accomplice. Sasuke was given training on the tree walking afterwards, as he ended up asking Naruto for help on the situation, as Naruto was actually helpful. Recently he started to develop a hatred for many around him, but actually he was helpful, not holding that much of a grudge against the Uchiha, not really. So with that, Naruto went out, after practicing all night, as he learned something else. However, something rather shocking, he came across Haku, the apprentice of Zabuza. Naruto's intention was to take Haku down, as he gazed into his eyes when something happened, as Naruto tried to grip Haku's soul. But there was a purple flash, as Naruto did something that, well, he shouldn't have. Naruto woke up hours later, confused where he was, not quite understanding. As he remembered what happened, Kurama blacked out as well. Haku returned back to Zabuza and started to mend his wounds, but Zabuza could quickly tell as he raised his blade against Haku's throat, asking Haku who he is, knowing that this was not Haku. However, Haku simply erased his mind. Whatever this being or thing was that was now controlling Haku's body, it was definitely not Haku, and it was greatly powerful. It played its part well, making Zabuza forget so that he could still play its part. When the day finally came, as Inieri rushed forward, as Naruto told him that he was a hero. The boy was so happy to hear that as Naruto headed towards the bridge. Sasuke had his Sharingan as he was struggling though. Once Naruto arrived though, Haku, well, the pretender, decided to stop pretending and knock Sasuke out immediately. Before Naruto could say anything, he was hit so hard as he blasted through so much before he finally crashed in dust and debris. A shock look written all over his face as he looked up, and his eyes went wide. So yeah guys, basically as we left off, you guys can switch across the place, check it out for yourself. So to begin this new episode. There he lay on the ground, after just being punched through so much, as Naruto stood there, gazing up towards the heavens where Haku was. However, forming in the air around Haku was blades made from ice. They had a purple tint to each and every one of them. Haku smiled down towards Naruto, as he wasn't wearing the mask anymore. His eyes were completely glowing purple. He held his hand out as they came down in a shower. Naruto flipped to his feet. Don't let those things touch you, Kurama advised. And he was right. They drilled through the earth. Naruto was shocked by their force as he flipped away and ran. They tore after him. Haku's voice was soft and gentle despite the fact that he was aiming to rip Naruto to shreds. You're gonna have to be a lot faster, he said. Naruto's eyes widened when he noticed Inieri and all of the others. Inieri had gathered the people to come and protect their home, as Naruto realized that he was heading in the wrong direction. Haku held his hand up as the ice daggers, blades, were heading towards the civilian. Naruto jumped in the way. Inieri was shocked. All he saw was a flash and then violent collisions. Smoke and dust filled the area in front of him as Inieri saw someone standing in mid-air, just standing there, his mom nearby. Confusion and scaredness whipped across the crowd. Inieri's eyes widened when he saw Naruto's shirt through the smoke, torn to shreds. However, Naruto stood firm. None of them pierced his skin. Strangely enough, they did not pierce his skin, but they did scar him and scrape him and bruise him. Haku looked rather surprised as he quirked the eyebrow. Impressive, he said. As Naruto did look pretty hurt though, despite none of them tearing through his flesh. Naruto, Inieri said. Get back, said Naruto. Inieri didn't have time to question as Naruto shoot off, kicking up dust and debris as he jumped. However, watch out, Kurama yelled to him. Naruto extended both of his arms as two massive orbs of solid ice crashed into him, aiming to squish him in the center. However, Naruto's palms caught them both. He grit his teeth as he felt the pressure. However, he yelled and pushed them away before he spun in midair and lashed out a kick, blasting Haku across the sea. Naruto then pushed forward, flying through the sky. This is what he was working on. After thinking about the tree walking exercise, why wouldn't he be able to fly? He could move things with his mind after all. Naruto flew through the sky when he noticed something was off. He looked down as he saw the entire ocean floor was frozen. Shock look on his face. He twists and turns as massive spikes emerge, trying to pierce him. However, he evaded all of them as he landed. He then started to run. Haku plunged his hand into the ice. It shot upwards like a mountain as all fighting came to a stop. Zabuza and Kakashi was frightened. Sakura had the unconscious Sasuke as she looked up with a shocked look written all over her face. All of the bandits, including Gato as well, came to a stop. Everyone confused on what was going on. The attack slammed right into Naruto, throwing him back. Before he could recover though, he felt a hand pressed against his back. Naruto glanced behind him to see Haku smiling as a purple ball of energy slammed into him, knocking him straight out into the sea before an explosion unlike any other erupted, causing the entire water to rise as the ice was destroyed. The explosion blowing it all apart. The boats that Gato and his men came on were swallowed. Luckily, the blast radius was a distance away, so it wasn't able to destroy the bridge. Kakashi and the others stood there with a stunned look on their face after they braced themselves. Kakashi gazing over as he was clearly able to see, and Naruto was nowhere to be seen. Haku? Zabuza said with a shocked look on his face. After seeing Haku standing there, Haku proceeded to land on the bridge. Zabuza was confused. He landed right beside Kakashi, with a smile on his face. Zabuza-sama, he said with a smile. I wonder how far I can push this vessel. He held his hand out. Zabuza, all the thugs and Gato suddenly froze, feeling something wrong. His smile simply stretched. All of them started to scream as their bodies started to turn blue. Haku was freezing their blood, something that real Haku wasn't capable of. Amazing. To think that there was people like this out there. Incredibly weak, however, these techniques. I never knew there was a race out there that possessed techniques like this. To think I forgot about this backwater planet. Kakashi swung the kunai that he had in his hand. However, the moment it touched Haku's skin, it froze over and broke. I must say though, this is a disappointment if he does not rise out of that water. There is no way that his death could be that certain. Haku was talking to himself, completely disregarding Kakashi, as every single thug, including Gato and Zabuza, had been frozen from the inside out, their body dropping. Nothing left. They were dead. Haku then turned as he looked at Kakashi. Another test subject, perhaps. He held his hand out. Kakashi quickly jumped away, an amused smile formed on his face. Kakashi-sensei, no! Stay back! The man yelled to Sakura as Sasuke was being helped up by her. You care much for your students. It would be a shame to see their demise right in front of your eyes, would it not? Meanwhile, damn it, kid. Open your eyes! Kurama violently yelled at Naruto. If you don't do something, they're going to die. And then you're going to die. Open your goddamn eyes! He roared out. Naruto's eyes snapped open, as his body was unharmed once again. A pissed off look was on his face. He exploded out of the water. Haku turned, but it was too late as Naruto's fist broke in his face. A violent wave of backlash blew Kakashi and every single one away. Kakashi had to twist, throwing out ninja wires to hang on to the bridge as he grabbed Sakura and Sasuke. Naruto gripped onto Haku's left arm. Naruto was throwing at least 100 fists within seconds, moving so fast that his hand became a literal blur, until he delivered the final uppercut and knocked Haku's head clean off his body. The head flew into the sky, as Naruto was still holding on to the arm. It's over, he said. I don't think so. Naruto's head snapped up when Haku's mouth opened, as a purple beam drilled into Naruto's chest, forcing him to release the corpse as it blasted him straight through the ground, tearing through the land. It kept on blasting as the head reconnected with the neck. The beam kept on blasting and blasting and blasting, until a trench unlike any other was straight down the hill. Everyone was shocked as the place started to stable back out from shaking. Haku proceeded to crick and roll his neck, as he was still alive despite having his head blown clean off. I must say, I'm happy. You bring me joy that you are more than I thought you were. However, I'm not finished with your evaluation. Show me that you possess the capability that I believe, and rise once again, deep within the hole in the ground. Hey kid, don't tell me you're done for. No, I'm not. But I am pissed off. I am livid. I'm mad. And I'm gonna rip whatever that is to pieces. Naruto's eyes start to glow purple. His skin start to turn purple. His whole body start to release a strange purple aura. The ground start to boil, literally melt, as he was reaching melting point. Naruto exploded from the trench. Haku gazed up with a smile. Now that's it. Show me what you're capable of. Holding out his hands, thousands of spears made from ice shoot towards Naruto. Naruto held his hand up and pulled it back before he thrust his fist out. A violent tornado mixed with a storm was conjured by his fists. The twisting, destructive chaos reduced all of Haku's techniques to dust. He did not even blink as Naruto stood in front of him, his furious eyes popping with veins at the side of his face, his hands popping with veins as well. Boom! Naruto hit him so hard his body exploded to the sky. A violent backlash that shook the land. Naruto bent his knees before he pushed off with even more force. In the ear, Haku realized what was happening. This body has reached its limit. The amount of blows taken, I can't sustain it anymore. Naruto appeared above it. All Haku did was smile and outstretch his arms. You are the one. The chosen one. I'll be seeing you soon. No, you're not. You're going to rot in hell, said Naruto. As Naruto literally bent space as he squeezed his fist with all of his might. His whole body seemed to turn into a miniature sun, but a purple one, casting a gaze over the entire island. Naruto plunged his fist in Haku's chest. His body imploded outwards, from the inside first, then out. The backlash shook the entire coast where the sea was, as the pressure traveled down into the water with a violent eruption. Boom! The water exploded outwards, reaching further than it has ever reached before, further than any wave as it came upon the land. Kakashi was astonished, baffled, shocked, as a huge part of the bridge fell into the water, destroyed, unable to contain the force. Everyone was shocked by that, completely baffled. Kakashi quickly jumped away as he ran down there. Upon arriving, he found Naruto standing in a massive trench that was now just being filled by water once again, after he sent it all sailing away. Naruto, he said. As Naruto glanced up towards him, he was not even out of breath and not harmed. His body had healed itself rather quickly, and it had returned back to normal, his skin no longer showing that sign, his eyes no longer glowing. Kurama did notice something though. This was the first time he had ever been pushed so far. However, his body, his limits adapt to this area. All the might that he just used, his body was able to adapt to it easily, showing that this kid really had no limits. Far, far, far away from the elemental nation, residing within his throne. That being from before opened his eyes, if you could call them that. He was happy. A brilliant radius of energy watched over him. He could feel it. He's the one, he said to himself. His words could not be understood by humans, but he spoke. He's the one. He will become my new vessel, my everlasting vessel. He said, pure happiness radiating off of him at finding it at last. Time skip. Naruto stood within the office, as the people of the wave had named the bridge after him. He was the one that inspired Iniri. Yes, and not to mention he saved all of their life by jumping in the way, risking his own, and they were glad that he was fine. So the bridge was named after him. Kakashi told him that they will be needing answers to their questions once they return. So here he was, as Naruto told them everything that happened while he was there. Well, he did leave out a few parts, as in meeting Haku, and also the way Haku spoke to him as well. Hiruzen looked towards Naruto as the man was very, very serious. Naruto, I know that you haven't really trusted me since you found out. I know that you feel neglected in a way for me not telling you anything, but this is a very concerning and dangerous matter. The power that this one individual possessed was very unusual, and from the way Kakashi told me the person was speaking, they spoke like you were involved in something that you're not telling me about, and now, you possessing strength and powers like this, it's beyond anything that you could have done in your training. Please, tell me what is going on. When I say what I did not lie to you. All I did was train, said Naruto. Perhaps you should let him in on how exactly you train. Kurama said, just to get him off your back. After all, your story's not that believable. Naruto released a breath. Fine. I don't get tired anymore. What? Hiruzen said. I don't get tired anymore. It happened some time ago. I'm not sure what happened to me, or why it did, but I don't get tired anymore, Naruto said. Kakashi had a look of realization. Now it makes sense. Even after that fight, you weren't even out of breath. Every single day, before I joined the academy, I trained. Again and again and again and again. My body don't get tired. I don't even sweat anymore. So I simply train. I push past my what seem to be limits that are already broken each day. Over the past couple of years, I've done over 1 million in push-ups and sit-ups and running. Thousands of kilometers of running. I've done so much. I've pushed my physical physique to new heights. That has even surprised me. I was thinking that I would have kept this to myself, but as you see, something is happening that not even I am aware of. And whatever I fought, I'm not sure what it was, said Naruto. However, it was definitely not the hunter name that saved Zabuza. He's right about that. There is no way that it would have made sense for him to kill Zabuza. And the way he did it as well. The surprised look from Zabuza. And he said that he was testing his body limits. It's like someone else was inhabiting the host. This is really concerning, Hiruzen said. As this did not make any sense. And if this was real, if they were truly targeting Naruto, just who were they? Time skip. Hiruzen ran tests on Naruto, just to confirm his theory, and he was correct. The man was astonished. None of the doctors could explain it, how it was even possible. He just physically could not get tired. He had no limits to his bodily function, because he kept on surpassing them time and time again. This means there was no telling how strong he could become. However, they had to keep in mind that something out there was targeting Naruto. At the moment, we find Naruto deep under the river. As he realized that his body was changing to different levels. Breathing was no longer something that he needed. Here he was under the water, and he felt completely fine. He didn't know if he was breathing underwater, or perhaps he did not need to breathe. Him and Kurama had a theory on what was going on and what happened to Haku. So it was my fault then. Yes, I believe so. Kurama replied back to him. When you try to make contact with Haku's soul, you open it up to something else and risk it. At that very moment, the collision of this power that you call the Force, someone used it to pinpoint your location, and instead of going after you, they went after Haku, the closest source nearby. With his soul wide open, they simply submerge it with their power and control it. But what was it, said Naruto. How should I know, Kurama said. However, whatever it was, I'm feared that's just a taste. You blew his head clean off, and yet he was still alive. You had to completely destroy the host's body for it to actually vanish. And even then, I believe that the possession was coming to an end because you hurt the body so much. After all, they have a limit. One thing though, whoever this thing was, it's directly connected to that purple energy inside of you. So you think, this is what is coming after me, said Naruto. You said it before. You believe I'm being prepared as a vessel. Exactly. Damn it, said Naruto as he came out of the water, soaked from head to toe. However, he was only in his boxers, as his clothing was neatly folded nearby. How am I going to stop something like this? if just a small percentage of his power was able to push me so far, how am I going to stop the real deal? Well, for one thing, you have to train. Prepare yourself and get ready for the fight of your life. If this thing is to come, we have no idea what it is or how powerful it is. So you just have to be prepared for anything. As Naruto released a breath, something I wanted to tell you though. What is it? You not being tired or having any limits. I don't believe that it's connected to this force inside of you. What do you mean? Think about it. This power grants you ability that you could do many things and now you can breathe underwater. However, I believe that this limitless that you possess has something to do with me. With you? Yes. On the day when the collision happened, I was trying to break through the seal because I could see the end coming when the bear had torn you apart. And then I ended up here. I believe that this is not connected to that power. However, that power did push it and simply break something that wasn't supposed to be broken. So perhaps, wait, are you saying that I have a chance of surprising whatever this is? Because it doesn't know about this limitless of mine. Exactly. I'm not sure, but it's the best theory that we have right now and something that you can use by getting as strong as possible so that you'll be able to fight off anything that is to come. After all, that portion of its power might have been strong, but if you hadn't noticed, it wasn't able to draw your blood. You have trained your body to extreme levels. Your skin is extremely durable. I don't believe that anything less than the power that I can output at a Bichu bomb would be able to hurt your skin. So, a force of chakra that is infused with the power that you're able to use. You believe that I'm at that range at the moment. Exactly. However, there are other ways. Remember, there's not one way of killing someone, so don't you dare get cocky, believing that you're untouchable right now. Because what I said is just a theory. I'm not so sure myself. And besides, anything can be sealed away. I suppose you're right, said Naruto. Fine. I'll get back to work. And work he did for the next couple of months. Until the Chunin exams was coming to Konoha. Things were not so bad. As Naruto's relationship with Sasuke was not so bad either. Not even bad with Sakura either. He did tell Sasuke how Sakura tell him about the tree walking. Not to mention, he did protect him while he was fighting. And they did work together. They've been on more missions since. It seems like Team 7 was cursed and never truly take a mission that is whatever it truly was. As they went to the waterfall village where they had to fight Suyen, leading Kakashi to realize just how powerful Naruto had become. In a short span, having no limits to his training was really something that was pushing him past almost everyone soon. Kakashi had an idea on how to maximize Naruto's strength and growth. While Naruto was coming a long way, he was focusing a lot on Sasuke, even helping Sakura as well. She realized that she was getting left behind, so she asked Kakashi for help. Kakashi decided to take their training seriously because Team 7 seemed to be a beacon for, well, things going wrong. So yes, each of them were getting their training increased. As Kakashi was teaching Naruto to utilize every ounce of strength that his body possessed since he wasn't getting tired. Therefore, he was able to maximize that strength into using it with more force. The man was right, as Naruto was rather appreciative for that. Something that he was working on as Kakashi gave him a brilliant idea on how to maximize his power. Since that incident, there has been no other, and everything seemed to be just fine. So now here Team 7 was, as they calmly made their way. They had run in with the Sand team yesterday, after Kankuro decided to be a bully to Konohamaru. However, that was started out rather quick with Gaara, scaring the deerlights out of his own teammates. So with that, here they were. They signed the forms and they were ready. Sasuke was itching to participate as he wanted to test his limits. A lot has happened since the Land of Wave, where he was so afraid that he was shaken, but now, things were different, and he was going to prove that, mostly to himself. Sasuke went up against Rock Lee, when Lee proceeded to challenge him, wanting to test his talents against hard work. However, Sasuke was actually able to hold his own. Kakashi, focusing on their training had been a huge development. The battle had came to an end though when Guy arrived and punched the daylights out of Lee. Before hugging him, their relationship was really strange. They met their sensei at the door, as they proceeded to head inside. Immediately as they did so, the bloodlust washed over them. However, not even Sakura was that much afraid. After witnessing and experiencing the bloodlust from Zabuza, these guys weren't so bad. It was less, extremely less in comparison. So here they were now. That is when the door burst open. Naruto was never really friends with anyone within the academy. He didn't really talk much to them. He mostly stayed by himself and trained all the time. As he watched them interact, he never really had a good childhood as he thought about it. His thoughts were interrupted by a man arriving, silver hair and glasses. His words led to a fight with the sound team. Naruto did not really pay that any attention. However, the questions were hard as hell. As Naruto gazed around when he saw people were cheating, that is when he noticed. "Ah, I see," he said. There were fakes within the crowd. He did remember seeing Jonins, perhaps Chonins arriving, and now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 10 of them arrived and now 5 remained by the proctor's side. That meant 5 of them was within the exam room. A smirk came on Naruto's face as he saw one nearby. His test was already finished. Naruto looked down toward his paper, his name. He proceeded to erase his name at the top. As he gazed around, Naruto took in a deep breath. He held the breath in and compressed it within his lungs. He then violently exhaled, causing majority of the papers in front of him to be blown up by the wind. In that moment, Naruto pushed out of his chair, his feet calmly landing on the decks as he jumped to the other one. Moving with unnatural speeds, he grabbed the paper. He quickly slammed his paper down on the decks, reducing the sound as his hand did not actually touch it. He then flipped back over to his decks within a second. Naruto was impressed by himself. His speed had gotten so great, he doubted that anyone saw him. As he looked around, he proceeded to erase the name on the paper and write his name at the top, as people were still scampering for their papers. With a smile on his face. Time skip. They stood. Here they were. Her name was Anko Midarashi. She was a proctor. As she introduced herself, Naruto remembered visiting that forest late in the nights. On countless occasions, there were violent creatures inside, but they stood no chance against him. The ones that he loved to fight though were the spiders because of their numbers. Perhaps thousands of them reside inside. Naruto decided to hang on to the scroll, the Heaven Scroll, as much as Sakura thought that Sasuke was the greatest. She knew that Naruto was stronger. She wouldn't say that out loud, neither would Sasuke, but between them they knew that Naruto was the strongest. So here they were now in the forest. What do we do? Sakura asks, not knowing if they should go after a team or simply wait. We should get our scroll head on, Sasuke said. This is nothing. We face greater challenge head on. I doubt majority of them here has gone on any difficult missions that we have partake into. will not hide and scamper away like some cockroaches. Let's head for a stroll. Now you're talking, said Naruto, feeling the exact same way. Sakura seemed a bit nervous. Hey. She turned towards Naruto. There's nothing to worry about. After all, we have your back. That statement made her feel like all the pressure was dropped from her shoulders. Yeah, she said. Happy how her team was coming along. Happy how everything was coming along as they made their way. However, Naruto, hearing which had gotten advanced, picked up on something. He grabbed the both of them and jumped off. A violent wind attack destroyed the ground as Naruto looked down, as he set them down in a tree. What the hell was that? Sakura said, surprised that Genin could use abilities like that. Naruto's gaze swept around the forest. As he jumped, the moment he did though, a massive snake exploded out of the ground, its intentions to eat him. Naruto Sakura screamed. However, Naruto slammed his fist right on the top of the snake's head. Its body crashed into the earth as it poofed away. Naruto was shocked by the smoke. That's a summoning, Sakura said. Naruto felt something as he spun around, as he came face to face with a woman. She looked rather intrigued as she smiled at him. My, aren't you a powerful one, she said, gazing at him as he looked at her headband. Hey kid, whoever this is, it's no normal Genin. I can feel it too, said Naruto. They reek of evil and darkness, and this chakra is far stronger than any Genin's. Who are you? Said Naruto. Can't you see? She pointed towards her headband. You're not any Genin, said Naruto. Reveal yourself. She chuckled. Yes, she chuckled, looking towards him with a smile. I don't understand what you're trying to say. I am a participant in the exam. Are you perhaps just afraid? I'm not afraid of anything, said Naruto. My oh my, such big talk. She blurred away. Isn't he something, she said, standing right between Sasuke and Sakura. She was trying to cower him down, however. She was shocked when Naruto snapped her head to the right, breaking her neck in the process. If this was any average ninja, they would have been down for the count, however. Her head became rubber. Naruto was shocked as it lashed out. But it wasn't fast enough as Naruto gripped the neck. He slammed his heel into the ground and twisted, causing the body to slam through trees before he plunged it into the earth. He then raised his fist. However, she moved her head just in time as Naruto erupted the earth with a violent blow. Both Sakura and Sasuke jumping behind him. Sasuke whipping out a kunai, Sakura doing the same thing. Sasuke activating his double totem Sharingan. The woman retracted her neck though, as she rubbed the bruised area that Naruto had gripped his fingers in. She looked alarmed, intrigued, and surprised at the same time. Just who in the hell was this broad? Sasuke sped through hand sign and launched a fireball towards her, but it only burned the tree. Behind you, said Naruto. Sasuke spun and swiped, but she grabbed his wrist before she struck him in the stomach. She then spun and kicked Sakura away. My, I must say, you intrigue me more than the others, even though I'm not here for you. However, your strength is truly surprising, and your speed. Oh, trust me, Naruto said as he bent and went into a running pose. You haven't seen anything yet. I'm gonna kill you for what you did. As his gaze swept over towards the others. I see you care about your teammates. Well, let's see if they're going to survive. Or are you going to show me what you're capable? She wasn't able to continue, as Naruto came in a bit too fast. The extra training had truly amped up his strength and speed. His fingers gripped onto her face with such force. She tried to move. In the process, he tore her face clean off. As Naruto spun and slammed the back of his hand, shattering her nose. He then spun on his heel, literally burning the ground out. At the force that he spun with, one punch shattered every ribs. She was sent sailing like a bullet. Naruto wasn't done as he shot past her, her mind trying to keep up. His heel crashed into her back before he grabbed her skull and planted through the earth. He then ran, tearing her face across the ground. He then picked her up and kicked her once, then twice, then 3 times. He was moving so fast her body was barely moving. He then stepped into her guard and slammed a fist into her throat. He wasn't done though, as he stomped his leg in the ground and spun. He cracked his heel in her skull. Naruto pulled his fist back as he was going to blow her head clean off when suddenly she jumped out of her own mouth. What the hell? She landed a distance away, but it was no longer a woman. It was a man. Where has he seen that face before? He's seen pictures in a very special book, the bingo book. You're Orochimaru, Naruto said. My oh my. Child, I must say, you deserve a praise and award. It's been a long time since someone was able to surprise me. Sasuke and Sakura were back on their feet, both of them looking a bit bruised. But you've done it. You've not only surprised me, you've... Orochimaru coughed up blood. What is this? Confusion swept over his face. That is when he felt it. Every single ribs broke. No, this is not possible. He started to violently cough up blood. He dropped to his knees, his body trembling. This is it, said Naruto as he was about to take off, but the Sannin shot dozens of snakes out of his mouth. They tried to wrap around him as Naruto ripped and tore them apart. However, the Sannin used that to flee. Damn it. Orochimaru fled, running, when he collapsed face first. However, he reached. Using a sequence of hand signs, he was able to open up a latch that was buried. A secret hideout that was in the land that no one had discovered. He used a great amount of strength to flee here, using the Sunshin in quick process. Orochimaru collapsed as he released a blood-curdling scream. His teeth shattered. His body trembled as he vigorously puked up blood. That went on for a few minutes as he lay there in agony until his body started to fight against the effect. The Sannin knew exactly what happened, but never in his long years of living has he ever experienced anything like this, nor did he thought it was possible. However, every single pain that he was feeling was from the attacks that the kid had landed on him. That meant, but how was that even possible? Despite shedding his form, the kid's strength and force was able to attach itself to his second form that the first body had felt. No, but it didn't make sense. However, Orochimaru felt every single part. But how? His eyes then snapped into focus as he saw that strange purple energy coursing around his fists. Could that be the cause? That meant... But how was he able to do him like this? His regeneration should be able to cancel out most of the effects, but yet It was placed on standby because it was not able to keep up with the amount of inflictions that was dealt upon him. This child left him broken and battered for minutes, having to flee and run for his life. That boy was a nine-tailed host. Was this the power of the nine tails? No, it didn't feel like that. Then what the hell was going on? The Sanin thought. Time skip. That's not possible. Two Chonins was watching the team as they enter. They broke every past record that has ever been stated by any Konoha ninja, including, you know something, that child. Doesn't he kind of look like the fourth Hokage? Yeah, but come on. He's not. Yeah, I suppose you're right. Both men were startled. These kids had just broken every single record that had ever been set on the Forest of Death, arriving so early. After dealing with Orochimaru, given the fact that he felt fine, they headed off. They came across a team from the Land of Grass. It was rather easy to get their scroll from them. For the next 5 days, they relaxed. Naruto had told Iruka what had happened within the forest. Hiruzen had sent out a team to search. However, they came back with nothing. At the end of the 5 days, a pretty handful of team arrived. Therefore, they had to take part in what is known as a preliminary testing. So that is what they did. Here they were, as Team 7 was fresh and healthy for this battle, when suddenly Kabuto Yakushi, the one that they saw in the first exam, the one that failed over 7 times, gave up. He didn't even look that wounded, and yet he was complaining about something was wrong with his leg. I don't trust him, Kurama said. Me neither, said Naruto. What was the purpose of reaching this far just to give up? Even after complaining that you failed over 7 times already, something did not seem right. Something did not seem right at all. The first match was Sasuke versus one of Kabuto's teammates. The match did not last for long. Sasuke was healthy and full. He demolished him. Yes, he demolished him. The next match was Shikamaru versus Kin of the Sound team. Dosu, a member of the Sound team, was confused. The Uchiha was right here. Orochimaru-sama had gave them clear instructions that they should go after him in the forest. However, they failed to find him at all. Was he able to exit that quickly? He knew that this meant they were in a lot of trouble, and he was pretty afraid. Given how rough and tough he behaved, Orochimaru scared the daylights out of him. As more matches took place until Sakura was called to face off against Ino Yamanaka. Ino had a big smile on her face as she was going to demolish Forehead and prove to Sasuke that she was the one. However, Ino was demolished. Sakura did not give her a chance to use her mind technique. She bombarded her with quick successions of attacks. Kakashi extra training came in hand as Sakura moved on to the finals. Naruto's name was called. Kiba Inuzaka, a cocky smile on his face. Alright, let's get this over with. Kiba said that smirk on his face. No offense, but you're going to lose. If you want to give up now, I wouldn't mind. Just start the match, said Naruto. Alright, fine. If you want to be humiliated, be my guest, Kiba said. Alright, begin! As I was saying, BAM! Kiba was cut off. His body slammed into the wall. Everyone was speechless. The match barely lasted a fraction of a second. The proctor checked on the boy who was out cold. Akamaru rushing over to his master. Kurenai snapped her gaze towards Kakashi, a shock look written all over her face. She couldn't believe it. A brutal match followed with Hinata Hyuga. However, she gave up halfway through. Hinata didn't have anyone to inspire her. A long time ago, she had met Naruto when she was out of her estate. A very long time ago, but ever since meeting him at the academy, well, he wasn't the person that she thought that he was. He was quiet, he didn't talk, and he didn't inspire her. So she gave up when Neji started to scrutinize her, that she was weak, and she folded. As Lee was brutally crushed by Gaara, before his sensei saved him, the finals were set, and Naruto was stated to be fighting Neji. Time skip. Once again we find Naruto training, as he was doing one-handed push-ups. However, someone was close by watching him. He pulled himself up. "I know that you're there." His hearing had become so great. He could hear the person, his footsteps, despite how quiet he was trying to be. The person jumped down. As he stepped out, this man was in the photo with the other. "You're Jiraiya of the Sannin," he said. "Ah, you know of me," he said, with a smile on his face. "You were also my father's teacher." Naruto had did a huge search on his father and mother history, not to mention Hiruzen had told him what he could. Hiruzen decided that he was going to announce to the public that Naruto was the son of Minato. After witnessing what Naruto was capable of, and not to mention the requirement of him making Chunin, he believed that it was time. Jiraiya stepped forward. "Yeah, I knew your old man," he said. "Who are you here?" "The old man told me everything that has happened. So I decided that I'll just come clean with you right here. I'm your godfather." My what?" "Your godfather." "Is that so? Where have you been?" "I'm not gonna lie to you. Most of my time I've been going around being the spy master for Konoha, but I was ashamed to return. Losing Minato and Kushina took a great toll on me. And I put my own self-interest above yours, despite you being just a kid at the time. I thought I was doing you good by leaving you in the hands of Sarutobi, because I wasn't in a good mind state at the time. So I wasn't here. Although, I did visit you a few times, but you were too young to remember. Do you still have that wallet?" "My wallet? Which one?" "A frog wallet, a green one." "Yeah? Well, I gave you that," he said. "I don't remember." "You wouldn't. You were a kid. So what do you want?" "I thought I could help. I am a Sannin, you know, a very powerful person. I could teach you a thing or two, especially things that your father knew." Naruto sighed. "If this was a month ago, no, 4 months to be exact, I would have punched you in the face for not being here. However, you came to me as a man and explained why you were not here, instead of hiding away despite not being here for the few earlier years of my life. However, if you are the spy master of the village, which I'm going to check, I can understand. And I can understand what loss does to someone, despite never truly experiencing it, but well, I can understand. So I'm gonna give you a breather for that one," said Naruto. "However, in return, you're gonna have to teach me something. Something very powerful. If you did speak to the old man, as you call him, then you must know the danger I face." "Yes," said Jiraiya. "Then you know I need all the help I can get, because I don't know. Whatever is coming after me, I don't know what it is, or how powerful it is." "Don't worry, kid," said Jiraiya. "Whatever it is, I'll be by your side to help you." As Naruto smiled, the Sannin walked forward as Naruto punched him in the guts. Jiraiya dropped down to his knees, holding on to his stomach. "Huh. Guess I am a bit pissed," Naruto said. "I suppose I deserve that," said Jiraiya. Meanwhile, a far distance away once again, a blood-curdling scream could be heard. As a person, their skin was very pale. They looked like a human, but they definitely weren't. They had strange holes on their hand. These holes were leaking a strange green liquid, an energy that the strange being that was possessing Haku was taken from the person. The strange energy wrapped around the being with a hole in its arm. As it was being shrunk, the being that sat on the throne held its hand out. The very essence, the very life form of this being started to be absorbed into the what seemed to be God. Once he was done, his whole body glowed green. Once again, he seemed very happy. That thing that he just absorbed was one of his children. Well, he saw it as such. He was the one that bestowed power upon them after all, searching for a vessel after what happened to him. As you can see that he wasn't exactly healthy. However, he got to his feet just for a moment after absorbing that one. It seems like Naruto was one of these targets that were targeted, each of them. At the beginning, there was lights traveling through the universe after his battle. The purple energy had hit Naruto. Several others across the universe was infected by it as well. And now he was hunting them down and absorbing them, as he was trying to find his perfect vessel, because he was wounded. Standing up, you were able to see more of him. His form was not exactly one of a human. His stature was he had arms and legs, but his features were not there. Looking at him was like looking into the empty, a soulless black void that possessed nothing and was empty. However, it was a being of great power, clouded by darkness. This was not the first. 6 energy blasts were sent out through the universe, and 2 was recovered. That meant 4 was left. He was leaving Naruto for the last because Naruto had proven to be the one that he was looking for. The perfect vessel. The perfect host. He held his hand out. "Come to me," he said. Suddenly, space and time in front of him distorted as a being emerged. "It is time we begin the second test." He spoke to the being that stood below him. He was sending this thing after Naruto. He had to make sure that the body was prepared and ready for his arrival, for him to take. Therefore, it had to be pushed to the limits to see the limitations of it. And he had to make sure to finally mold it so it could keep on growing. Kurama was right about one thing though. He had no idea that Naruto has become limitless. So who was going to win? A literal god? Or a simple young man with the help of the 9 tails had managed to break the limitation that he possessed and be imbued by the powers of a god? The battle between them would definitely be one of the ages when he decided to make his move. However, whatever this thing was, it was definitely one to not take human life in consideration despite simply knocking Sasuke out. Perhaps it had a reason for that. It was smart, calculated, focused, and now it was sending a very dangerous, conniving, wicked, heartless being after Naruto. It was coming. But guys, be in subscribe right here. If you want to see this part and do, like, subscribe, comment down below, turn on that bell notification, stay posted. Bye, I'm out. Peace.